you do that? How did you do that?
Welcome back everyone to another episode of All About Mechanics. Now today I'm going to be showing you the veteran and hard mode version of Falkreath Hold. This is going to be the same setup as before as far as group composition is concerned. We're going to have one stam DPS, one magic DPS, one healer and one tank to make sure no roles are left out. Here we go. Now one thing you need to take into consideration as far as difficulty is concerned is that the more recent DLCs and more recent dungeons are actually pretty rough on the group. Most of them require a very solid group to pay attention to the mechanics. There are obviously forgiveness situations where you may be able to res people and stuff like that, but generally the mechanics are so far set in stone that you have to make sure that everybody understands what they're doing, otherwise it's really, really difficult. Now, same scenario as most. When they come to these ad pulls, you have to make sure obviously that the tank grabs as much as they can and try and center them in the middle of the room while turning them away from the group. If anything needs to be interrupted, you'll see red sparks coming out of it. Make sure you interrupt. Don't just rely on the tank to do so. But above all, stay behind the enemy. You do not want to be in the faces of them, especially not when we come to the Minotaur stuff further in. Same stuff here. There's a few Warden type enemies. They've got these nasty Shulk abilities. Or not Shulks, in fact, they were the Hajmotas, but we've got those as well. And there's cliff racers coming in from the side. So if your tank can grab that guy up the top with the chains, then of course bring him down. But if not, you can just go around the back of the tree and then kill him from up there. But we're now come to the first boss very, very early on. Before we do, you're going to see a very strong common ad that you will see in this dungeon. Now, there are three different types of Minotaurs, a Wall Breaker, an Earthbinder, and a Trampler. Now, these can all be dealt with differently, but above all, as the DPS and the healers, you must not stand in front of their faces. First one we're now going to see is the simplest of them all. This is a Wall Breaker. Very, very simple mechanics to this. The tank needs to taunt it and turn it around and block those heavy attacks. If you don't block the heavy attack, you're dead. Simple as that. Even as a DPS, if you are blocking, you're probably dead anyway because they can hit up to 56k plus. It's absolutely disgusting. So make sure the tank has full aggro of that and turn it away. Never stand in front of their faces. They are the simplest ones to deal with since they just have a basic heavy attack, but it's so strong that it will kill anyone that it hits, unless obviously the tank is quite familiar with it and aware that the heavy attack is coming in. Now, there's no more AoE effects or anything like that to be aware of. Just don't stand in his face. The other two Minotaurs you'll see when we get into the next room after the second boss. More will be explained there. Now, this first boss is very simple. There is a Minotaur in the room, obviously. You've got to grab that and hold it up against the boss and make sure the boss is taunted as well and turn them away from the group. There are a couple of ads in the room. They're not too stressful. They're not like the really, really strong ones that are coming up soon. So make sure you kill the Minotaur first, get rid of the ads, and then you can focus the boss. And what you want to do is you want to stand in a circle around this boss. So DPS and healers kind of fan out a little bit. Make sure you're in this little circular formation, and then that way you can stay in the heals and keep your AoE in one place. During the fight, she will knock everybody backwards, as you can see there, and put up a siege shield. Stay in the shield. There's loads and loads of mortar type stuff flying around the room. You don't want to get caught by it, so just stay close to her. It's basically a stack and burn fest, but you must make sure that once she knocks you back, you get back in really, really quickly. Now the next boss is a bit of a pug killer if people aren't used to, first of all, paying attention to mechanics, because there is a very important one that will wipe the group if you don't pay attention. Secondly is footwork. Now, there are many people out there that think they've got the Maelstrom Shuffle and they've got to come straight out of Maelstrom into a dungeon and run around in bloody circles. Don't do that. That is going to kill you because you're going to carry AoEs in some content and you're going to run into people and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to do that. But here, there are some nasty flame AoEs that move around on the floor that you do have to weave in and out of. So don't do it unnecessarily. Just move out and move back in again. As you can see, they're kind of passing us there. The boss needs to be faced to the gate. If you're the tank, turn it away and make sure it doesn't turn on the group. Do not move it. You might have to manipulate your own feet a little bit just to make sure that you've still got some room where you can see, because your line of sight is a little bit restricted, but hold the boss against the gate. DPS and healers, just mind your feet when the flames come in. Now, when the boss goes very low health, there's going to be a really nasty mechanic, and he will go up on his back legs and stamp the ground. When this happens, like here, you must block. If you don't block, you are dead. Straight out. Tank might be able to survive, but healers and DPS, if you don't block, you are dead. Apart from that, during the fight, he'll have a nasty heavy attack where he'll just headbutt you with the tusks at the beginning, which is supposed to be on the tank. So long as there's a taunt applied, the tank will receive that and you'll be just fine. You've got to block it, though. Now we're going to start seeing some really, really nasty ad pulls. There are lots and lots of things to deal with. The tank has to be on full attention with all these big shiny ads. Minotaurs first, of course, but you've got to get the town raisers and the flame brands, because if you don't, they will kill your group. Now, first of all, this Minotaur is a trampler, so you must not have him facing the group, because he'll put, as you can see there, nasty AoEs out in front of him. If that hits the group, it's very likely that it's going to kill them, so always have him turned away as the group stay behind him. The flame brands and the razors, they must be interrupted and killed at the same time as well. If you get hit by any of them throwing out a Dragon Knight whip, you will take 21,000 to your face if you're a DPS or a healer. It's really, really nasty. They hit very, very hard. So make sure the tank is in full control of these adds, stack them up together, and make sure they don't go loose. Again, it's another trampler, so make sure you keep your damage on the adds, get rid of them quickly, but the trampler needs to be focused as soon as possible, but from behind. Do not attack him from the front. The tank can take it. The DPS and the healers cannot. A little bit further on in the dungeon, you will see that I do actually get hit by one of the tramplers, and I almost cop a one-shot. It's really, really risky, so you've got to be careful. Another trampler here. Again, like I said, there's 3 different types. Wall breakers do heavy attacks. They're not that bad. Just turn them away. The tramplers do nasty AoEs across the floor, so you've got to be careful of them. They do charge as well, so you've got to stay out of their face. And now we're going to see an Earthbinder. Now, Earthbinders need to be focused as soon as possible. So the tank here should pull both the Minotaurs together and turn them away. When the Earthbinder starts smashing the ground with his hammer, you'll see that there's AoEs underneath the group's feet. You need to keep moving and don't overlap them onto your group. If you move backwards, they'll be placed on the ground and you'll be fine. If not, they'll come up from underneath you and they will kill you. You've got to kill that Earthbinder fast. As you saw then, the Trampler did turn towards the group. He did throw out that nasty AoE, and I caught one of the nasty effects that was coming towards us. If I'd have caught both of them, because 3 actually in total, but 2 were on my side. If I'd have caught both of them, I would have died. So you have to be very, very careful not to stand in that. Here, another very simple pull, but again, primary targets. Wallbreaker is not that difficult, he just heavy attacks, so make sure the tank is obviously turning it around and blocking. The Trampler, or the Earthbinder rather, must be killed. Now this is where you have to watch out for the Town Raisers, because they can hit really, really hard as well, so you need to make sure that they're interrupted if they're channeling, and the tank tries to hold them as much as possible. Again, same as before, Earthbinder must die first out of the 2 Minotaurs. He is your primary target, so above all, make sure you hit him. If he does smash the ground, move backwards to get rid of your little AoEs, and then come back in again. If you stand still, you're going to die. If you stand on top of somebody else, you're going to kill them. Wallbreaker's your safe Minotaur. He's one of the easiest ones to deal with. Up here again, another Wallbreaker. First target you should pull, of course, is the tank, but make sure you block the heavies. Now these flame brands that are coming in, really, really nasty. They have a whip, and it will kill anyone in the group, even a tank if they're not blocking, so you have to be very, very careful. So the tank needs to make sure that he or she focuses these guys instantly and make sure that stacks up with the group, otherwise it's going to really hurt. I do get hit with a whip during the next pull, I believe, or almost get hit with it. It's really tricky. You can block it, but it will hit very, very, very hard. If you miss that block, you're dead. Most people miss it because it's such a quick attack. Now this pull is evil. There are flame brands, there are razors, there's all sorts of stuff in here all at once. The tank needs to be very, very quick, very much on his or her toes. Pull everything in as soon as possible. Chain it up, claw it up, whatever you've got in your arsenal for CCs. But this guy here, as you can see, I dodge rolled his attack then. If that would have hit me without blocking, I would be dead. You've got to get them down quick. The flame brands are primary targets. Obviously that one was a little stray, but the tank was obviously very, very busy trying to deal with all the rest of them. But don't panic. Don't run around the room. You can dodge roll or block, whichever you've got available at the time, whichever you're more quickest with doing, but don't run away. Above all, try and stay as central as you possibly can. Once the flame brands are down, you've just got these 2 guys left to finish off. They're not that bad. Just don't stand in front of them. That one's probably one of the harder pulls in this dungeon because of the flame brands. They will kill your group. The Minotaurs do hurt, of course, but the Dragon Knight whips are really, really deadly. Now we've got a couple more Minotaurs to deal with, a few adds as well. Again, remember your primary targets. Those Minotaurs really, really hurt, but they are in order. Earthbinder must always die first. Trampler and the Wallbreaker must always be turned away from the group. So put in the adds here. Minotaur, obviously you want him in the front as soon as possible. He does have some cast abilities though, so he won't necessarily come to the tank right away, so you may have to go to him. But above all, even if that is the case, you must make sure that you have him turned away. So always face at the tank. Now when he slams the ground, again, same as before, you will get AoEs under your feet. So make sure you move if that happens. Trampler, same as before, stay out of his face. He hits extremely hard, those AoEs are not fun, and he will charge occasionally as well. You don't want to be the one caught in that. Tank can handle it, the group won't. Got one more Minotaur off to our left here. He's a bit sneaky, he walks backwards and forwards, he can sometimes come into that pull as well, so you have to be careful. But a single Trampler is not that much of a problem. Again, the same rules as before. Get the tank to turn it away from the group and just kill it as soon as you can. As you saw there, I stayed way back, tried not to get in his face before we actually got him comfortable, and then we try and wreck him from his comfortable position, if you like. Now, the next fight is actually very, very simple, but it can be a complete mess if people aren't paying attention. There's 3 ads in the room, they must be killed. If you make them sit down, or kill them, whatever you want to call it, they will emit a small area of effect underneath their feet. These need to be picked up by standing in them and then placed on one of the 3 lights around the room. These lights will be visible once you are affected by the negative AoE that you pick up. Now here we're going to go for the caster first, while the tank controls the melee and puts it on top of the archer and keeps an eye on the interrupts. You have to be very careful where you stand and make sure you get them down as quick as possible and interrupt or move out of AoEs as and when you have to. As you can see there, I picked up the AoE and then put it into the light. You do take damage during that phase, so you must have heals from yourself or from somebody else. These 2 again follow the same rules. Once they go down, there'll be a big circle underneath their feet that you have to pick up and deposit in the lights. There's 3 lights around the room, left, right and front. Once you've done that, the boss will come out of the center of the room. This phase here, do not overlap those AoEs and make sure you block for the icicle to come down and smash you in the back of the head. When it happens and it's gone, you can carry on as normal. So just hold him still and do as much damage as you possibly can without dancing around the room. During this phase, you may get skeletons in the fight, which you do have to kill. Try and hold them as much in center as you can if you're the tank. In the meantime, watch out for the ghosts, because if they touch you, they'll fear you. 50%, these will come back. So same rules as before. You can see our tank is in the far corner there with the melee and the archer, and I'm dealing here with the ranged DPS. He does teleport around, so you got to be careful. Once he's down, take the AoE, put it in the light. The other side, we've still got the 2 ads remaining. We've got the archer and the 2-hander. You do have to pay very close attention to these guys, by the way. They must be interrupted, so the tank, the healer, or DPS, doesn't matter. If you see them doing anything that needs interrupting, make sure you bash them, and if you see the big AoE, make sure you get out of it. Our tank got caught in that then and almost died. It's really, really risky. So get rid of the skeletons, you have some remaining, but in the meantime, make sure you get rid of those ads and pick up their AoEs. If you don't, they'll enrage, and it's really, really nasty. You don't stand much of a chance. Boss comes back again once they're all down, and now it's a case of just stack and burn. But remember, stay away from the ghosts because they'll fear you. And when he does this, spread out, don't overlap your AoEs. You have to block. As you saw, my AoE was overlapping on top of Fire's, but mine didn't physically touch his body, which means it won't affect him. If your AoE is overlapping somebody's physical person and it touches them, you are pretty much dead. So don't overlap them, make sure you hold block. Once the ice is landed, carry on as normal. Now this is a pretty simple boss, but you are now going to get taught some mechanics. There are plenty of ghosts and zombies and stuff down here that you have to kill. Now, as you can see, there's an urn there with a big light coming out of it. If you go up to it and activate it in the form of a synergy, you will be given a buff, or debuff, or whatever you want to call it, an effect, which is a big circle around me. Now, when the enemies die, they will have a light sticking out of their body. With this effect that I've picked up from a synergy, all I have to do now is activate a synergy, and I can actually cleanse the bodies and get rid of the souls, if you like. This is a very, very important mechanic to pay attention to on the next boss, because you're going to need to do this, otherwise you're all going to die. As you can see here, got a purifying synergy that I can continuously take every time there's bodies inside the circle of my bonus or effect that I've picked up. Now, in this fight, you want to assign one person to do that all the time for you. So you can see these urns around the room. You can pick any of them, it doesn't matter which, but this is how you do it. You activate the synergy over the body. So we normally assign the healer because there isn't too much damage incoming unless shit hits the fan, in which case you're probably dead anyway. But what you need to do is bring the boss into the middle as a tank and hold him still. Do not stand in front of him as a DPS or a healer, because he does have some cleave or frontal effects that will actually hurt quite a lot, so you don't want to get caught by those. In the meantime, during the fight, he will spawn lots and lots of zombie type enemies. These need to be pulled into the center of the group as soon as possible by the tank without too much dancing. If you spread out too much, it becomes a real problem. And then when we've got about 5 or 6 plus, I mean, you can get a lot more than that, that's when you want to send your healer off to go and pick up that synergy from one of the urns. Then come into the group and cleanse them all. You can see the spread and AoE on our feet right now. That's the boss channeling up. If that gets full, he will explode. Every single enemy on the floor that is not cleansed will contribute towards the damage done. As you saw then, we went very, very low health because there was still 1 or 2 that weren't synergized or cleansed. If you have more than 2 alive, you are wiped. Your tank might live, but the rest definitely will not. Basically, as far as that fight is concerned, it's rinse repeat. You stack and burn the ads and the boss while staying out of his face, cleanse all the dead bodies, carry on as you were. Again, if you don't cleanse them, there will be a larger explosion and you will all get killed. So make sure you cleanse those bodies, make sure whoever is assigned to do that is on point with it, and try not to spread out too much around the room, because if you do, you're going to have a big, big problem. Instead of coming in and pressing a synergy once and get rid of them all, you're going to have to do multiple synergies around the room, and time is of the essence. You've got to be very, very careful. You don't need over-the-top DPS to kill the boss. You can take as long as you like, but you must make sure you cleanse those bodies. A few more enemies here before we go on to the room before the last boss, or the area before the last boss. These are really easy to get rid of. Just hold them in the middle and kill them, and you can synergize them if you want. You don't have to. This isn't actually important. Apart from an achievement, there is an achievement for that. Now, we're going to get all 3 Minotaurs here. The Trampler, the Earthbinder, and the Wallbreaker, which is painful. And what you want to do is your tank is going to have to be in full control here. Yes, I'm fully aware you can skip this, but that's not what I'm trying to teach. We're teaching mechanics here. If you pick up the Wallbreaker first, because he's the one that's going to be heavy attacking, and put him at the top of the stairs, at the same time as trying to grab aggro on the other 2, you want to get the Trampler facing you, and you want to taunt the Earthbinder as soon as possible. So get the Wallbreaker off the group so he doesn't heavy attack them, turn the Trampler away, and then get the Earthbinder's attention afterwards, and stack them all at the top of the stairs. This is when, if you like, you can throw all your ultimates down and do as much damage as you possibly can, while making sure 100%, as you can see where I'm positioned now, you stay behind the targets. If the Earthbinder makes AoEs happen, move backwards. As you can see we just did there, everyone's safe. The tank has got full aggression on every single target. None of them are facing us. We're not going to get heavy attacked. Trampler's not going to fire at us or charge at us. Now the last boss, hard mode, removes 2 pillars in the room. We're going to do that. And what you need to do is coordinate very, very carefully as a group. You need to work together. He will shout. He has like a Dragonborn shout. And when he shouts, he will get rid of whatever pillars people are hidden behind, because he'll smash them down. You all need to stay together and use 1 pillar as a group if you can help it. Now, sometimes that won't happen. You'll get a couple of pillars between you, but you want to do it as much as possible with just 1 pillar. Otherwise, you will eventually run out and you will die. Look at the floor. There's a step that he's standing on. It's a kind of a square shape. I call this the corners phase. So everybody get a corner, and he will do like a breathe-in animation while the fire is around the edges of the room. You've got to stay out of it, and you will get sucked into the air. When this happens, move backwards very slowly and place your Earthbinder type AoEs on the ground. And if there's fire behind you and you've got nowhere else to go, go to your right. After that phase, get to the pillar and all kind of hug it a little bit while doing as much damage as you can. You do need to make sure that you kill all of these ads. It's very, very important that you get rid of them all. When he's turned to stone, you can't harm him, so go nuts, drop your ultimates to get rid of these. The reason we've gone to the pillar is because he slams the ground quite a lot and he puts fireballs across the floor, and if they touch you, you will die. So we stay behind the pillar. That way, we're safe. When he does the fire phase again, that's corners. Everybody get your corner. Move backwards, 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 backwards. Move to the right. Everybody does that. Nobody overlaps anybody and nobody dies. Very, very simple to do. But if you're too fast or too slow, you will cause a problem. Here he's slamming the ground. Hide behind the pillar just so you can get out of the way of the fire, and then keep nipping in and out doing damage. When he shouts at 70%, hide behind the pillar. 1 will smash and everybody get back in on your corners again. Rinse, repeat. It's ads have to die. When there's no fire around the outside of the room, he's going to do it, so get on your corners. You can see we're all standing in our positions. He's turned into stone again. More ads. Get the ads down. Focus them. You can't hit him anyway. But as soon as he's dead, as soon as the ads are dead rather, get back to your corners. It's very, very important. Now the flame atronach can actually be changed, so just note that. The others can't, but that one can. So you can pull him around, CC him and all that good stuff. When he's doing this mechanic, again, hide behind the pillar a little bit, peek out and do some damage. Make sure the tank has got full aggro on the boss, however, because he does fire out a nasty Hadouken and it will one-shot you if you don't block it. With DPS, it'll kill you anyway. You can see the fireballs across the floor. This is why we use the pillar as our leverage, if you like, or our hiding spot. Again, flames around the room, get to your corners. Get sucked in, walk backwards, 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 backwards. You've got nowhere to go, move to your right. Rinse, repeat. Every single time there's no flames around the room and he's not bashing the floor, he is going to do that breathe-in mechanic, and you all have to get to your corners. At 40%, he's going to shout again, get back to your pillar, everybody hide behind it, you won't die. If you don't get behind it, you take a one shot. Instantly back to your corners. Whenever there's no fire around the edges of the room, or whenever there's no mechanics in the middle, apart from ads, always get to your corners because that is coming very, very soon. So this time, focus on the ads. Remember, the Atronach can be CC'd. This big spread in AoE, where should we go? Back to our pillar. Always go back to the pillar. We don't want to get hit by that nasty stuff on the ground. Kill the ads, keep an eye on the boss. When he's finished having a fit, he's going to pull the fire back up off the ground again, and he's going to suck us back into the middle. So you have to be ready. Once the AoE is gone, back to your corners again. Quickly, back to your corners. There's 4 corners on the floor. Little step. Use those as a guide. Backwards, right. Simple as that. Place your own AoEs. Everybody gets their own. If you overlap each other or start running around, you're going to die. Now we need to keep an eye on our pillar again. So once the fire's gone, move backwards and just keep an eye on it. He's shouting again at 20-odd%, 25% in fact. Now from here on outwards, he's got a damage shield that will come up every so often. He's got ads that he'll spawn every minute, and he will shout almost every minute as well. You've got to be really, really careful here. So focus the ads as much as possible. When he slams the ground, get to the pillar and protect yourself. And when there's no big AoE on the ground, get to your corners. You're still going to have that suck-in mechanic, and you're still going to get the nasty AoEs on your feet. Ads have to be primary to make sure you get them down. AoE's gone, get to your corners quickly. Fire's back up again, you don't want to get caught by that. Get in position, get ready for the AoEs, and then as soon as he brings you in, you go backwards and to your right. Again, remember that ads must be focused, so watch your feet. Keep an eye on your primary targets. Don't sit there and try and nuke the boss at this stage. Yes, you can have area of effect down, but make sure that ads die because they will start overlapping. There's the shout again, once a minute. But we killed him, so he's done. We still had 3 pillars left because we utilized 1 pillar per phase. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that wasn't too boring. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. It is quite fast-paced. It is really, really claustrophobic in there, but you do have to pay attention as your group. Make sure you coordinate together, and make sure you're always going to the left. So hide behind 1 pillar. Once it's gone, focus on the next one, and so on and so forth. Anyway. First of all, thank you all very, very much for watching. I hugely appreciate the support, and if you are not subscribed on YouTube already, please do hit that button. It is free. Furthermore, if you want to help support outside of YouTube, there are some links in the description for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, and of course the website XynodeGaming.com. Don't forget I live stream on Twitch at 10 PM UK time almost every day as well. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.